Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile Scala, with another episode of POPXP, and we have a great night. It's Tuesday. It's crowdfunding comics night, and joining us is the elusive, rarely seen, the mysterious creature known as Frank Amazing. Frank, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I am doing really well. The fact that it is Tuesday, we get to talk about crowdfunding because that's kind of what I do by scheduling all these interviews. But not only that, but we're getting towards the end of May, which is still a good point where new projects are still coming up and they're starting, you know, they don't wait until June 1st. So, you know, always keep an eye out, such as myself, of some upcoming projects coming up. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. You? I'm freaking pumped, dude. Everything's great. I mean, we've got so many great shows lined up. We have 3 amazing guests tonight with really 3 great campaigns. You know, I've gone through all their campaigns. I did my background check. I was able to get all their social security numbers. I got their credit card numbers. You know, everything about these people, right? You know, we're intimate now. And
you got the background check because I got the front ground check. So we're all
there you go.
Yeah,
got that. There you go. Look at you, clever man, clever man. But tonight we've got 3 guests. We have Alton Simpson tonight. We have Patrick Thomas Parnell on tonight, and we have Travis Miller on tonight. All talking about their new crowdfunded campaigns going on. So it's a good mix tonight. We've got some Kickstarter, we've got some Indiegogo. So let's kick it off. So first, in our first half hour tonight, we have Mr. Alton Simpson. Al, how are we doing tonight?
Really good, really good. Really excited to be on. Good to meet you, Frank, and good to be with you now.
Hey, man, we're happy you're here. You know, we've, you know, been talking. Another gentleman that I believe that was working on your project, you know, got everything together, got us hooked up. And, dude, Phil Vampires of New Jersey, dude, it's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thanks.
We love vampires, man. We're huge vampire guys, monster guys. You know, our passion kind of started with the whole Universal monsters and things like that. Yeah. But, you know, before we get into your current Kickstarter, you know, tell us a little bit about yourself, Al. What is your origin story? How did you get into this crazy world of comics?
Wow. I'd had to go back to 1975 when my mom would give me $1 and I would get on my bike and go to a 7-Eleven in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and look at that rack and just my head would explode. And I would just spend my, you know, I think counts were 20 cents or a quarter when I started buying them. And I've always been in love with comics. I never thought in a million years I'd be doing a comic. But as you go through life, you know, things happen and opportunities come up. In 2004, my wife and a friend of mine who went to film school created a media company, 3 Heads Productions, because we had an interest in film also. And from 3 Heads, I've written a lot of scripts, and Vampires actually is one of the scripts of a movie I wanted to see. And usually when you're independent and you do a film, in order to pitch your story, you need storyboards. So I thought, oh, gee, I'll block out, you know, it'll help me block the scenes and it'll be very organized. So I posted online the idea for the script: Vampires in New Jersey, like the mob versus vampires, like True Blood versus Sopranos. And a guy who drew Silver Surfer for Marvel in the early 2000s, Mahathir Buang, saw that and he got all excited about it. I didn't even know how big an artist he was. I think he drew some Walking Dead too. And I looked at his art and my wife was like, look, I don't know comics, but this guy's art is really good. He took an interest. He helped me design the characters, the look of everything, and did the storyboard or the breakouts for the first 3 issues. And that was about, I guess, about 5 years ago. Yeah.
So what brought you, so you started off, well, actually, you've been reading comics, you know, since you were a kid, you were getting your comics. I mean, what were you reading?
Back then it was, you know, I would read Marvel and DC, although I probably lean a little more Marvel just because I always liked the way they grounded everything. Like, you know, the characters were in New York and then they would actually draw New York buildings in there. I'm from Philly and I live in Jersey. So, you know, every class trip in Catholic grade school was New York City. So to be in New York and look up and see a building and go, I saw that building in a Spider-Man comic. Really, you know what I mean? It gets connected it for me. So, but yeah, both of them, you know, I can't recall a lot of indie comics back then. I know Charleston was around because I used to buy E-Man comics, which was a favorite of mine. But yeah, it was Marvel in DC, you know, and as they went through their different permutations, you know, Superman came out, the movie in 78, and somebody just posted the other day, I saw the Spider-Man TV show that I watched in 77 that you look at now and you go, oh my God, but I tell these, you know, I say kids, but I mean people younger than me. And I said, well, that's all we had. I mean, you know, we were so excited to have the Hulk on TV. And then Spider-Man, even though his web shooter's on the outside, and you know what I mean, and you can see the wires, and he's climbing the wall, and, you know. But we were happy to have that because that's what we had. Plus, you had Stan Lee hyping everything up all the time, getting you all loud about it, you know. So,
Stan the man.
That's what I used to buy. Yeah, just you know, right across the board stuff.
Now, when did you start getting into film?
Well, I was in. My background is financial, so I was actually in mortgages in early 2000s, and one of the guys in the next cube was saying he wrote a script, and you know I was like, oh, okay, you know. And back then with the internet, you could kind of learn, and you still can, although you know people use the internet for ridiculous purposes, but you really can't learn a lot. So him and I were talking, and then we had a friend that both of us knew that went to film school. And we were like, wow, your script's good. I could produce it. We could film it, you know, and we got together. And of course, that was a total debacle because none of us really knew anything about film. I literally have more footage from that short film of us shooting all kinds of ridiculous stuff than any other project I've done. And I've done like 4 or 5 films. So from that experience, I learned you had to teach yourself how to do a lot of things. I do music, so I did the soundtrack when I started doing commercials on Comcast, and you know, the indie mentality makes you learn a lot of things because you just feel like I need to know what that person is doing. If I have somebody on the set, it's good to know what they're doing. You know. Yeah. So
when it comes to filming and directing, then are you completely self-taught?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my friend Chris Kearney, we call him Pocket because I guess he used to have his hands in his pockets all the time in college. He went to film school. But between him and I, you know, we would be like, oh, I have an idea for a short film. Oh, well, let's block it out and figure it out. And we did probably about 10 short films before we did a full feature.
Oh, wow.
But I was hiring people to write, and I was dependent on other people to write. And then I got to the point where it's very hard when you're indie to get people to write on spec for what you want to do. So we started doing the 48-hour film festival, which is a real challenge. We did the New York and the Philadelphia. And basically with that, say there's 10 of us, including you guys. We meet on Friday night. We put our hands in a hat. We pull out different genres. You get comedy, you get romance, you get crime. They give you a line you have to use in the film. They give you a prop you have to use in the film. And you have to shoot, edit, and print, and score by Sunday. Now, if you can turn it in Sunday by 3 o'clock, your movie's played in a movie theater. So I've had my short films actually play in Manhattan at a movie theater, which was very actually frightening because my lead actor dropped out. I was like, I'm just a producer. My lead actor dropped out on the day of shooting, and he was an Italian police detective, and I had to step in, and that was my first acting.
Oh, wow.
I was Terracitano, and the director friend of mine mentioned it. Andre, I forget his last name. He's an African-American actor, but he was in Homicide, Life on the Street. And that part was originally an Italian character, but they recast it because he was such a good actor. So then when that was shown in New York, you know, New York's like Philly. If you suck and you're in the theater, they're going to tell you.
Yeah.
So I come up on the screen and I'm, you know, down with my hat like this. And the biggest compliment afterward, they have a Q&A was that you didn't suck, which is what I was shooting for.
Yeah. Oh man, that's great. Wait, so that whole where you pull the category out, you know, you get this, you get that. How long do you have to shoot your film?
You have from Friday night till Sunday around. Sometimes it's like 6 o'clock, but Sunday around 3.
So it's about 72-hour shoot or less.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. It's like extreme filming, man.
They call it the 48-hour film festival, and the reason my buddy Chris talked me into it is he said, you know, if we do these, we can get better at our craft because you're under that pressure to produce something in a short period of time. And if you finish it, I mean, really, that's great. But the more we did it, the better we got, you know.
Wow.
So
that's cool.
Every city, it's very odd. You know, it's almost like comics. You don't hear about it in the general media, but 48-hour film festival is in just about every major city in the United States. And then it's in cities around the world, you know, like Prague, Paris, and places like that.
Yeah, Hero and Burr says the 48-hour film fest is a good way to hone your storytelling and filmmaking abilities. Our early episodes came directly out of some 48-hour talent.
Yep, and that helped me become a better writer. As far as vampires, I was actually finishing my doctorate. I got a PhD in management of information systems. And when you're doing that, that's another ridiculous situation. Because you write 200 pages that you think are great. You turn it into your chair and your committee, and they throw it in the trash. This sucks, go write some more. So then you go back and write some more. So I was writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. This is about 7 years ago. And I said to myself, you know, I want to write something that I don't have to like worry about somebody telling me it sucks. I just want to write it for fun. And that's when vampires kind of popped into my head. I wanted to mix genres and I wanted to do something different. And when I was on the set of Jose Luck, a guy came in and he was like, one of the actors, and he was like, dude, have you seen True Blood? They just come out. And I was like, no, I'm too busy. I just had a kid and, you know, I got tons of stuff going on. And it's got violence, it's got sex, it's got everything, you know. And I was like, okay, whatever. So then True Blood went off the air and somebody gave me the DVDs and I started watching it. And I said to myself, well, this is great. It's very Southern. But what if they showed up in New Jersey? You know, what would Tony Soprano say if they showed up in New Jersey? So that was kind of the impetus for Vampires of New Jersey.
That's freaking awesome. So how many comics do you have under your belt?
Well, I have 5 issues of Vampires out in stores. The 6th issue is part of the Kickstarter. But then I had spinoffs of other characters out of Vampires that people liked. Werewolves of Brooklyn, #1, came out in January. And this is a biker crew out of Brooklyn that you can hire. So fans have described it to me as the Howling meets Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, that's cool.
So I always have like that pitch because I do film. You need like a log line. So I did the spinoff of that. I'm going to do the 2nd issue of that pretty soon. And then I wanted to do a superhero also because I love superheroes, but I didn't want to do a traditional, you know, in the suit superhero type of person. Yeah. I came up with a grounded sci-fi superhero, sci-fi based, called Blackjack. He's a superhero whose powers change without his control. So one week he can fly and then he can't. And next week he might be super strong and then he's not. So he makes a cross-country trip to find other people with his, I call it an ailment or a sickness, to find out why he is like he is. It's like Unbreakable meets X-Files. Yeah. And once Vampires started going into stores, I wanted to have a shared universe and kind of a line of comics. So I would say, well, you like Vampires, I have Blackjack. So they started going into stores together. And then once Werewolves showed up in Vampires in New Jersey, you know, then they're all, you know, there's stores in Philly you can go to where they're kind of all lined up, which is pretty cool for me. Awesome. I know the Geekery in North Jersey actually put all my stuff in you have the turntable there with for the comics. Yeah,
the spinner rack. Yeah,
they put all my comics in a spinner rack. I almost broke into tears. I was like, if my 15-year-old self could see all my comics in a spinner rack, you know. And then what's happened with me, which I've been lucky, is the fans have told me what they want. So because I'm just basically me and an artist or two, I can respond to that. I'm not some giant corporation like Marvel and DC. The stores, owners of the stores have said, you know, you got those first 3 issues, you're up to the 4th. A graphic novel would be great because that helps somebody catch up quick. And then with independent things, the store owners told me, people feel like you're not going to make it. Like you do that 1 issue and they love it. And they're like, oh my God, why can't this guy do more? You know, so they were like, yeah, graphic novel since you're up to this. And they recommend things. And then I try them and I've been lucky. They've been selling out in the stores. You know?
Wow, that's great. That is awesome. Now, have all the books been crowdfunded?
No, this is my first one. I did try an Indiegogo, and I tell everybody I was horrible at it. I was terrible. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't make any money, and it just collapsed. But in January or February, Phil and Heather, Comics and More in New Jersey, they're big fans. They sat me down and they said, look, we want your comic to reach more people. We have this idea that if we take your comics and hook you up with artists who have done Kickstarters successfully, put those two together, because you got the bona fides, because your interiors are solid, and put them, give you that extra thing, that'll help you with your Kickstarter. And we actually funded in the first 13 hours.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, so let's take a look at this. Yeah. So you have, well, that's not the screen we want.
Hey,
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you currently have 16 days to go. Your goal is 1,500. You're now broke over 4,200, and you have 78 backers.
Yeah, it went up today. Good. Yay.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And this is really your first, I would say, or your class really kind of is like your first real crowdfunded project. You made an attempt, but this one is really starting to break that horizon.
Yeah, I've been lucky. I got a great team. Wendy Stainer, actually, who's an artist who did a cover, also helped me with the splash page there. I mean, she's putting my content in the the right way to get people's attention, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great. Now, how long is your Kickstarter video?
I think it's a minute.
About a minute. So if you don't mind, we'll play this for everyone.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Boom. Very good. Very good. So, I mean, you've got a lot of, some POPXP alum in there. Yeah. We got Karen Nicole, Wendy, Jimmy Noble. I mean, you got a great group. Yeah, Steph in there. Yeah. You've got a great group of artists and creators.
Yeah.
CB Zane.
Yeah, I got lucky. I mean, Phil and Heather connected me with a lot of them.
Yeah.
Steph, I actually met at a con, a little tiny con we did in Toms River, New Jersey, that I did in like January or something, just to break, the winter blues. And he was there, and I met him, and he's been, all of them have been instrumental with really teaching me how to get my message across through a Kickstarter on the internet, because, I've been walking into stores pitching. Yes, you are, maybe. I've been walking in the stores pitching, and I've gotten pretty good at that. But the internet's a whole different animal. It's just been a lot of fun working with that team.
So how do
Thank you, Herrenberg.
Yeah, how do you decide who is going to be on your team? What are you kind of looking for?
Well, I've been lucky. What I find is, even with thanks, Wendy. Wendy's the boss. She texts me like 3 a.m. I did this. I got this idea, because she's on the West Coast, I'm in Jersey, and we're constantly, like back and forth. I'm like, this is so much fun. I've been lucky. I find that you can pay people money, but if people really like what you have come up with, and they like the subject matter, then you get a whole different level of excitement out of them.
Yeah.
And that's what's been happening with me. I mean, when I was shooting film, I loved the fact that if, on an indie film, obviously you didn't have a big budget and you don't have a lot of money, but people were hearing about my script. They liked the idea. And Jose Luck is like a low-level Usual Suspects.
Mhm.
So with the Vampires in New Jersey, I've been lucky that they're interested in it. Now, when I look at their art, I mean, you know, you see this art that these people do, and you're just like blown away by it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But they also, I don't give too much direction. I'll say, here's what I did. What do you think you can come up with? And that unleashes them to do whatever. A lot of the covers I have done on my regular, you know, non-variant comics, I basically left it up to the artist to see what they come up with and let them interpret what you do. And it's always interesting because I don't have a specific, you know, way I think the characters should be portrayed. You know, I do know what the audience likes because they tell me. So I try and take that feedback and funnel it back to the comic. I mean, because I didn't know it was going to sell out. I put it in Ron's Comics in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Lumberton, Mount Holly, New Jersey. And only because that's my store. You know, I go there every week, and I know Ron and Pat. And Ron looked at the paper, and he said, oh, it's good paper. I'll put it in the store. And then a buddy of mine, the next day, he texts me. He goes, dude, I went to get your comic, and it's sold out.
Wow.
And that was about 3 years ago. So, I mean, it sold out multiple times at Ron's, and then I took that to, you know, other stores, you know, Fat Jack's Comic Crypt, the oldest store in Philly. You know, Frankenstein Comics, Amalgam with Ariel, another great store in Philly. And I've been lucky, you know, I know I've been lucky. So, but
yeah, no, that's great.
You know, so far.
And I mean, you're in Jay and Silent Bob's shop.
Yeah, that was crazy because the guy probably bought my comic at the New Jersey Horror Con. Because what happened is I started doing Comic Cons, and the guys that did the New Jersey Horror Con down in Atlantic City, they saw me at the con and they go, "Dude, we're doing a horror con. Can you know, you're vampires, do it." So that guy probably picked up my comic there. He went back to Red Bank, and he talked to me on Facebook. He's like, "Dude, could you just put it in my local store?" And I look at my wife, I go, "Isn't that like Kevin Smith's store?" And she's like, "They're people, go up and talk to them, you know." And I took my 12-year-old, who actually has been my biggest consultant on this, because he's funny today. You know, you go on YouTube and they read the comics to you. Like they'll read the entire, like, this is what happened with Crisis of Infinite Earths. And he absorbed all that. So he's kind of like my stage. Like if I do something, I go, "Does this suck?" Or "What do you think?" And he's like, "I don't know. Maybe." But he went to take Silent Bob's with me. And when we walked out after Mike put my comics up front, he goes, "Dude, I didn't think they were going to take your comic at all. This is really, you know." 12-year-old was like, I'm shocked, you know. So I've been lucky. I really have.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about the book. Tell us about this series.
Well, the idea is that Cassidy, and this is the first issue. I'll throw it up there if I can get that. He turns, I think it's 25, and he on his birthday, he's explained that back in Italy, where his family's from, his grandmother interacted with another family, and something bad happened between the two families, and now he's kind of owed to pay a debt. And the problem is you know, he's like, "Well, what family was this?" Because his family's kind of mob related, and he's like, "Well, we can handle it, whatever it is." And they're like, "No, this is a different type of family." Turns out to be a vampire clan. So whatever happened between his grandmother and the vampire causes him to be turned when he turns that certain age. Now, his dad doesn't agree with it. He's a Tony Soprano's type, and he's trying to figure a way out of it. So he literally hires a guy named Vincent, who actually is a priest, mercenary, ninja type guy, who is works for the Vatican. And I created an organization called The Order. So his job is to, after Cass actually does get bitten, to try and keep him from turning. And he has a certain limited amount of time. So the first 3 issues are like a movie. I always say my scripts are like whatever your favorite 80s R-rated movie was. So it has, you know, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of jokes. I kind of mix it like a little bit of Tarantino, a little bit of Kevin Smith as far as dialogue, and people seem to like that. But yeah, the first 3 issues is that arc of them trying to stop him from actually turning, and then the next 3 issues is a different arc, but it's 3 issues and then a big whatever at the end. I don't want to give too much away, but that's the basic. This guy is turning, and he's trying to figure out between the 2 families: is it good that he turns? Is it bad that he turns? What power would he have if he turned? What power would he have if he didn't? And it's a kind of coming of age thing. And people ask me how it's going to end. I don't know how it's going to end. I'm still writing.
Yeah, that's incredible, dude.
I've written 9 issues, but I've only gotten up to 6. But I try writing ahead. I wrote 5 issues of Blackjack, and I wrote 3 or 4 issues of Werewolves of Brooklyn, and I also have a spinoff, Witches of Westchester, which I introduced in issue 6 in this Kickstarter, and it's a shared universe.
So now you can you can really have, if you want to cross any stories by creating everything as part of your universe, you can do that.
Right.
So it's very simple for you to just, hey, I want to merge, this book and this book with a crossover story.
Right. And
so was that always your thought process, and right from the get-go?
No, what happened was when you get to the 4th issue, you want to expand things. So you're going different areas to keep it interesting for yourself as a writer and also for the people that are buying the comic. And I'd introduce characters and people would gravitate towards the character, and then I would say, well, Werewolves of Brooklyn, what would they be like? First I literally sit around and think of things for like 6 months to a year before I do them to make sure it's something that's a little bit different than everything else. Because there's a lot of everything else out there. I mean, I love sitting in Artist Alley at Wizard World and seeing just everybody's ideas and all the different things going on, Yeah. And even the majors are stretching out. I mean, I never would have thought, Deceased. I never would have thought you would have had a comic, zombie versions and all these different versions of the characters. So it's really opened up a lot of ideas. But indie, for me, is just exciting to see what people are doing. And tomorrow comics come back, and we were talking before we started, and that's historic, and I'm excited to do that because I have a partnership also with a lot of small businesses. I'm a small business. They're a small business. You're a small business. And when they suffer, we all suffer. So,
exactly. So remember, it's the comeback.
That's
Hashtag support the comeback. It's going to be bigger than the setback. Join the campaign. I posted our video. I was challenged by Josh Jeppy. So I was like, I have to get it done before the stores open. So I quickly put something together today and got that out there. But now, we have a question here. Let's see where to go about trade. Will there be a trade paperback?
Ooh. Yes.
Flying Gang.
I have a trade paperback of the first 3 issues. I don't have one handy. It's over on my other desk. But it's got, I did some variant covers. I actually had an artist named Simon Bennett, who was a portrait artist in England. You guys will like this story. It's wacky. I got a lot of wacky stories, I guess. He was a portrait artist. So if you were a duke or a duchess, you go to his studio and he would do a portrait of you. Well, he saw vampires online on Comixology, like the first issues up there. Downloads it, all excited, contacts me. I love this. I've always wanted to do Jack Kirby. I've always wanted to do, he's a very into, American traditional comic stuff. So he actually started sending me covers, like out of the blue. And they're beautiful.
That's awesome.
My wife was like, are you going to pay this guy? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to pay him, but it's crazy, crazy that he's sending me these covers. And he actually was the first variant cover. I just want to show 2 really quick.
Yeah, sure.
That's his, that's the 4th issue. I actually worked in Wildwood, New Jersey in 1984. So I started doing flashbacks of different character things, and it's better on that side. So that's one of Simon's. So then he's a traditionalist too. So he goes, oh, I want to do like a variant of my variant. So he did this, which is a Dark Knight.
An homage. Yeah.
But if you look at it, it's basically he took his art and recreated it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that. Yep.
Yeah. So he's, I've been lucky that people like that literally take an interest in what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I let them do their thing. I don't say, oh, do it this way. I have this vision of that. I just say, what do you think? And then they send me something like that. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's good.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm glad you got this going. Your Kickstarter is doing very well. You have 16 days to go. So, I mean, everyone out there watching live right now, and for those that are going to be watching this, later on YouTube or even back on Facebook, help share Vampires of New Jersey. Get it out there, spread the word, share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and help build this up for Al and to continue this series. He's got 5 published and out. The 6 is underway, and it sounds like he's got 3 more ready to go. So let's continue this.
Yeah, 6 is actually done. I just got the interiors from Connor Cole, the artist who's been doing all the interior work from the West Coast. I like the fact that I have it. You know what I mean? I have it done.
Yeah.
A lot of these crowdfunding things, they're not, they don't have everything yet. But me, as a person who has to deliver something, even when I was in grade school, I feel better that I have it in my hands and I can tell people, look, I got issue 6. I'm going to get it to you. I'm going to finish,
Awesome. Well, Al.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
I could talk forever. I was going to throw one more quick story in. All right. So I'm doing a small con for my friend Jay Taylor, who's a great artist locally in Mount Holly. He owns a store called On the Square. And he goes, Al, do me a favor, come over and do a table. So it's me and 2 other guys. Both of the other guys are great. But one of the guys I had no idea was Chris Ivey, who drew Cyforce for, I think, DC, and he drew some X-Men for Marvel. So he comes over to my table and he goes, dude, your comic's pretty cool. I'm like, well, I got to hit you up for a cover. So he actually did this.
Oh, let me zoom in on that.
Which is the crossover with Werewolves of Brooklyn, where I introduced him in issue 5. And that's a Chris Ivey cover. So it's really cool that even people that actually, he's got cred out the wazoo, took an interest in the comic,
Yeah.
Nice.
What a great cover. Great perspective.
Yeah, and then, with this Kickstarter, I'm learning about, metal covers, foil covers, and all this stuff. And I got my first foil cover of that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I've just been, like I said, very lucky. And he literally was like, I want people to know more about your comic. I would like to do a cover for you. I would like to connect you with publishers. I've been lucky in that respect.
Wow. That's fantastic, man. And Al, thanks for coming on and sharing all this with us. And, please keep us in the loop. Frank does a lot of the social media promoting. If you follow him on Twitter or follow POPXP, we'll continue to share through our channels throughout the duration of your Kickstarter. And everyone out there, help share. This is great, dude. I love vampires. I'm going to back this myself after the show. And keep on rocking, man. Keep me in the loop. If you got anything coming on, new books, you want to come back on the show to talk about anything, just shoot me an email.
Anytime you need me.
I tell everyone, once you're on, you're part of the POPXP family. Cool. And even if I got a guest on, you're like, I love that dude, Nile. I love this dude. Can I come on the show as a guest host? Email me if I can make it happen. I'll make it happen. That goes for our fans out there too. Just a reminder. This is for the people. It's for the people.
Who else is there? You know what I mean?
Right.
I literally wouldn't be doing any of this if people weren't coming to me saying, hey, I like what you're doing. Keep doing it. I support what you're doing. And it's growing organically. And I've just been very,
awesome, man.
So
awesome. All right, my friend.
Comics, so we got to keep going.
Exactly. Al, thank you so much for coming on. And again, good luck with everything. And I know you'll blow this campaign out of the water.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right. Have a great night, Al.
Take care.
Man, what a great series. Man, we love vampires, vampires, PA, all that stuff. We support those things. Now we have Vampires of New Jersey. It's amazing. There's a crossover.
There is a crossover. We both thought it.
We gotta get Jeffrey JCV in here and we get it going, right?
Oh man.
But we got
right in the metropolis of New York, both of them.
I know.
That'd be awesome.
We'll create the Vampires of Hartford. Vampires of Hartford, Connecticut. That's a good one.
Whalers.
They'll sell you insurance and suck your blood. Anyways, we got our next guest in the half hour. Our next half hour. Awesome campaign. We're heading over now to Indiegogo.
Yep.
We've got Patrick Thomas Parnell. How are we doing?
Good. How are you doing, guys?
Good.
We're doing great, man. Welcome to the show. Happy to have you on.
Awesome to be here.
Man, Patrick, your book looks great. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about yourself. For the viewers out there that aren't familiar with your work, how did you get into comics? Why do you stress yourself out with all this crazy madness?
Well, I would say that my interest in cartooning kind of goes back to G.I. Joe and Transformers. As a kid, I was into a lot of 80s cartoons growing up. Thundercats, Silverhawks, G.I. Joe, Transformer, GoBots, and all the weird stuff in between. And then as I got older, I got into skateboarding, and then I got into punk rock music. And right out of high school, I was in a punk rock band, and we traveled the United States, and we played all over the United States. We recorded in like $1 million studios, and I did music for a really long time. But, I still had this passion for cartooning and art, and I knew I couldn't be a punk rock star forever, So when I was around 21 years old, I went to the Joe Kubert School of Cartoon and Graphic Art in New Jersey. I jumped in and I got involved in that. Learned from some of the best. I learned from Andy Kubert. I learned from Fernando Ruiz. I learned from Erwin Hazen. I learned from John Ostrander.
Oh, wow.
Dave DeVries, Joel Knappersack. I didn't have Adam Kubert as an instructor, but he was always there, and he was always there to help out, so I could always show him something anytime I wanted. So I went there for a little while and got really interested into cartoon illustration. After that, I went to a computer animation school in Florida called the Ringling College of Art and Design. And this school is primarily like a school for people that end up at Pixar. Like all the people that made Lion King came from this school.
Oh, wow.
So I went there for 4 years. I got my bachelor's degree. And then shortly after, I moved back to New Jersey for not even a year. And the school that I was just at, Ringling, hired me back as a instructor. And I've been a college instructor ever since. That was about 12 years ago. So I was at Ringling. I was teaching illustration. I was teaching drawing to computer animators. Right on. Yeah, it is a great school. Like as I was teaching, I was starting to, because I didn't really have much breathing time, like jumping from my education. Like right out of the Kubert school, I did some work for 30 Days of Night, but then I went to went into the college program, so I was wrapped up doing stuff, schoolwork. As I was going to school at Ringling, I was doing stuff for the New York Times, so I was doing some freelance stuff here and there. And then right out of Ringling, I was working for Wizards of the Coast. And then it wasn't until about maybe like 6 years ago or so that I really started to get into mainstream comics, like getting published. I've done covers for Ninja Turtles and Mega Man and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, nice.
You said the magic word, turtles.
Okay.
And I was like, what?
I love turtles.
Yeah, that was fun and also a nightmare at the same time. So I like about 5 years ago, I met this dude, Evan Posios, who is a co-writer with me on this book that I'm promoting today, Johnny Phantasm. And we worked on a book called Time Grunts with illustrator, comic book artist Alex Sanchez. And we published that through Caliber Comics. And as we were working on that, Evan kind of had this idea for Johnny Phantasm, and he started brainstorming with me. And then, we put out a one shot, a 12-page one shot that we sold at a convention, and it went really, really well. So we started doing like these mini comics. And then I guess about a year and a half ago, I was really inspired by some of these people that were doing these crowdfunding campaigns on Indiegogo, like EVS and John Malin and Zach. And we decided to crowdfund the rest of Johnny Phantasm on Indiegogo, and we did a little tiny graphic novel that was complete and fulfilled about a year ago. So we've been working on a new book called Johnny Phantasm 1985. But over this whole year, we've had people constantly asking us about Johnny Phantasm 1977. Like, how can they get a copy? How can they get a copy? So we talked to Peter Samedi over at Alterna Comics.
Yep, he's a good friend of ours. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. And instead of doing another graphic novel, because we wanted to honor some of the people that got, that backed the project the first time. Like, we didn't want to just re-put out the same thing. So we talked to Peter, and instead of doing one graphic novel, we decided to break it up into 3 individual issues. And that's where we are today.
That's awesome, man. So let's get into it, man. Let's check this out. Let's check out Johnny Phantasm. Now tell us a bit about like the whole premise of this.
Well, I mean, if you take a second, and if anyone reads it, like, I'm going to be saying the same stuff, but it's basically.
So should we play the video?
If you like to, yeah. If you like to play, well, I'll just say this before you play it. It's basically a mix between Beetlejuice and Scarface.
What?
There's also influences of Daredevil, Frank Miller's Daredevil in here. Yeah. There's influences of Alex Toth in here as well. We're also a big fan of the old school Dick Tracy stories. And then, of course, being from Detroit, Evan is a big fan of James O'Barr. So there's also definitely some Crow flavor in here as well.
Oh, very cool. All right.
Now,
so let's
you can roll that beautiful bean footage.
Here we go. Wow. Patrick, your interiors are incredible.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh my, that's your work?
Absolutely.
Wow, dude, I love your style. I love this whole story, like the whole story, the premise of everything. I definitely everything you just described of what influences you'll see in here. I saw all of it.
Music too.
The music too.
So
I mean,
I'm like bopping along.
Yeah, right.
I'm like waiting for like something creepy.
Wow, this is crazy. Joe Ryan, awesome. Alton Simpson, wow, I love it. I mean, this is so cool, dude.
So something that we were aiming to do with every page. Now, I know this might seem like an obvious thing for a comic book artist, but I was trying to make every single page a piece of art. Now, what I mean by that is this: like, I wanted someone to be able to buy a page and put it on a wall, and it looks like a composition page. Now, some people, I mean, obviously, every single comic book artist is going to do their best, but something I was really aiming for was I was trying to make each page look like a piece of art. So it's like I do a lot of like eye candy. I do a lot of like like compositional decision making, like when I'm making my panel layouts. I try to make the whole page look like a piece of art, not just a panel. I mean, and that's kind of like the magic of comic books is it's easy to make one panel, but it's hard to make 5 panels work together on a page.
So really, was it just one day you're like, I'm gonna create Johnny Phantasm? Like, how did this character develop?
Well, Evan, again, he's born and raised in Detroit. So he's got a love for Detroit, and he wanted to do a story about a Detroit gangster, and he was kind of floating around those ideas to me, and then I was like, well, let's add to them, let's make something happen to him, and then we're like, well, what can we make happen to him? And my idea was the whole idea of him getting possessed by a ghost. Now what happens in this story is he is a 1970s hitman. And he goes on a hit and he whacks priest, and then he gets cursed as the dying words of the priest, and then he gets cursed by these three kings that are from basically Atlantis, and they're stuck in like an alternate reality, and they're trying to get out. And what they're doing is they're using Johnny as a vessel to basically weasel their way back into this reality. He's kind of unaware of them. He knows that he has this power. He doesn't really know where it comes from. But yeah, it's definitely a fun and interesting story. And if you flip through it, we definitely cherry pick a lot of our favorite comic stories and try to put them in there.
That's incredible, man. Again, this artwork is phenomenal, dude.
I love how your stretch goal is a 1970s trading card right there.
Yeah, I was just going to get to that. That's why I scrolled back up so I could come back down. Yeah, the throwback cards.
Yeah, well, so right now in the featured perk, everyone gets the Tigers baseball card. And so what we're doing for our stretch goal is if we can get to 8,000, which I know we will, we're going to do a Red Wings and a Pistons and a Lions themed trading card as well, and then put them in a pack. So yeah, I'm very excited for this. I think it's going to be very fun. And again, so like right now, like we're working on Johnny Phantasm 1985. So as soon as this story is or as soon as this campaign is done, which would be in June, and we're going to be shipping this in June, and August we're launching the next one immediately because I'm already halfway done with the story. And then we're going to do trading cards for like 1985 sports teams as well. So it's going to be kind of like a theme that we're going to be doing. And then like after 1985, we're going to do like 1996, then 2001. So like basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be following the career of this hitman turned into demon boss. And then, I don't want to give too much away, but I mean, he kind of redeems himself, and eventually he becomes the hero in his own twisted way.
Oh, that's cool, dude. So it's like almost like you're getting a snapshot of him like every decade as he's going on.
Yeah.
Now, are you co-writing this as well?
Yes.
You are. Awesome.
Yeah. So like the way that Evan and I work is on the phone. We kind of just plot ideas out. And then visually, like I wanted to make this very strong. So after we get done having a conversation, I do little tiny thumbnails of the whole story. Yeah. And then I send the thumbnails to him, and then I'm like, okay, you write it, and I'm going to start drawing it. And then we kind of meet up at certain places in the middle, and we compare notes. But it's very old school the way that we do it. It's very similar to the way that Stan Lee worked with Jack Kirby, or the way that Stan Lee worked with Ditko as well.
Yeah. Now it looks like you have all of your. Is it pretty much? You have all the original pages up for sale?
All original pages are for sale. I didn't put all of them up just because I didn't want it to drag on forever. I kind of, I wanted to be realistic. I'm not going to sell. Yeah. I'm not Sean Gordon Murphy. I'm not going to sell all of them in a day. But I cherry picked the best ones. And then if we go through these, then I'll put some more up.
Oh, very cool.
So, but I mean, people have buying them, and people are buying some of the covers. So things are going pretty well. I mean, we crowdfunded this last year, and it went fairly decent. Like we did about $7,500. Like we were only up for about 30 days. We were in and out. this one I think we're going to keep up a little bit longer. But so far with both campaigns combined, like things are looking pretty decent.
Oh, very good. Very good. So this is kind of like a taste of based off of the requests, really, of the fans who know what's coming and they kind of want to catch up what they missed out on.
Well, like we were going to launch it. Like our whole plan was we were going to launch Johnny Phantasm Halloween 1985 in August because we want people to have it in their hands by Halloween. But we had to keep in mind not everyone had that story, and we wanted to give everyone a chance to get that story. People were requesting for it. And then something else that kind of happened was, I'm sure you guys heard about this, but there's a situation where Diamond stopped delivering comic books to stores, and people weren't able to go to stores. So one of our prized tiers is the Casino Royale, where you get $15. For $15, you get all 3 books like shipped to your door.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Which I feel is a pretty decent deal, especially in this time. I'm so sick of going to comic book stores and seeing comics for like $8 and $9. Like when we were kids, I was able to go to the gas station with $5 and leave with at least 5 comic books.
Oh yeah, they were like around $1.
Yeah. So our most popular tiers have been the Full House, where you get all 3 comics. You get a postcard set, you get a sticker pack, you get a button, and then you get the trading card. And then the other popular tier is the Casino Royale, where you get all 3 books for $15.
Now, are these all being so? You've got your the Alterna Comics printing partnership program. So these are going to be printed on newsprint. Awesome. I love the way the Alterna Comics look, feel. Newsprint I think is still a great quality.
Yeah. Well,
it's a cool nostalgic feel.
It's nostalgic, but also, technology has come a long way with web press printing. It looks a lot better than it did before. It doesn't come off in your hands. Yep. It looks pretty nice. And something that we want to do is, like Evan and I are not rock stars in the comic book industry. It's like they're well, yeah, we're being humble, but it's like it's very intimidating out there where there's these campaigns that are making $100,000 like every day.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to do was kind of build a bridge as we go with this, and we're going to build a fan base as we go. And what we want to do with Peter and the printing partnership program is just do these affordable comics and build a following. And then about a year from now, or possibly maybe a little bit more than a year from now, we're going to launch like the big graphic novel, like the complete story on the shiny paper and the nice packaging and all that stuff.
Oh, very cool, man. Very cool. That's great. So how many crowdfunding projects do you have under your belt? Is this your second one?
This is the second one. Yep. The first one went fairly smoothly. There were no hiccups really. It was just kind of a learning process. Like working for Wizards of the Coast or working for IDW or working for Archie Comics. I was used to just handing off the work and then never seeing it again until it showed up at my door. Yeah. This, as far as fulfilling and worrying about shipping and packaging and all that stuff, there was a little bit of a learning curve. I feel like we handled it fairly smoothly. I think we were only slightly behind in getting our fulfillment out. I've ordered some crowdfunding books from a year and a half ago that I still have not gotten, and people have not even updated their Indiegogo in months. Which I think is shameful. Yep. There's a lot of people out there that do that. It's kind of like the Wild West still. There's no laws really against it.
Yeah.
But there are people out there that do that, and it's very disappointing. We delivered promptly, and I feel like that's something that we're going to continue to do with this.
Yeah. Oh no, that's great, man. And where are you going? So you've got 1985 next. Now, are you doing any other stuff outside of this series that you plan on crowdfunding as well?
Well, actually, yesterday, I was on EVS's show, and Ethan and I are doing a story called Rust Belt, which is basically like our version of it's like a mashup between Transformers and Mask and Robotech and like Days of Thunder and Top Gun.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's a lot to match up. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we just announced that yesterday, and he and I are working on that together. It was his idea. He's mentioned it once on a live stream, and then I was just like, dude, it's a really good idea. Let's do that. And he was just like, you draw robots really well. You draw it. And I was like, okay. So that's just something that we've been kicking around back and forth. So I'm going to be working on this story, Johnny Phantasm, and then I'm doing conceptual stuff for Rust Belt as we speak as well.
Awesome. Do you have an estimated release date for that?
Oh, no.
No? You didn't have like a time period you were hoping to get that out?
No, I'm not going to.
2021?
Well, I mean, one would hope. I mean, like he's super busy, so it's like some of the schedule is kind of up to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say, like we just loosely announced it yesterday because we were very excited about it. But I mean, I'm pretty tenacious, and I feel like once I get Johnny complete, I think I'll be able to kind of start hammering away on Rust Belt. If people go to my YouTube channel, which is Riot Press Productions, I'm going to be having a lot of my process work documented on there. I already document all my Johnny Phantasm process work, but I will be updating it as soon as I do get some Rust Belt stuff up in there. So,
oh, very cool, awesome. We'll make sure to put the link to that in the description of the show.
Sweet.
As well as also your campaign. And as we've mentioned before, for all the viewers that are watching live right now, and for those that are going to be watching later on, please share Johnny Phantasm 1977 on your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you can. Please help spread the word of this book. Get people familiar with it, because 1985 is going to be coming out soon. Now, when do you plan on, you may have said it and I apologize, but when do you plan on getting 1985 out there?
Well, I would like to launch the campaign August 1st, and I would like for people to have the book in their hand, everyone that have the book in their hand by Halloween.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll be fun. Okay, so yeah, so some people are already hearing us talk about Rust Belt.
So there you go, Hero Burr. Now you know.
Or you give it out as a Halloween treat.
Yeah, give it out free.
Yeah.
For Halloween. There you go.
There you go, kids.
Well, I mean, I actually, I'm sure you saw when Peter had that alternative Halloween package. I went ahead and ordered that, and that's kind of what actually put me over, as far as wanting to get books from him, because I ordered those books and I was like, these look great,
Yeah. Well, now, do you plan on distributing these books to comic shops, or are you keeping it strictly just?
Well, we tried doing that with the last campaign. We had it was called a Black Diamond tier, where they could order 10 issues for a discounted price. Yeah. And it wasn't a big hit. So it's I'm kind of like, well, I talked to Peter about alternative distribution, which he's working on. I would distribute through him. I'm not sure how I feel about what's happening with Diamond and stuff right now. I kind of have to sit back and wait and see. I know that Diamond hasn't really been that great with Caliber Comics, who I also do some work with. And I understand that, like, they have a lot on their plate, and there's a lot of smaller companies out there. Something that's interesting that's happening these days is I feel like there's going to be a lot of smaller distributors popping up. Which I think is actually pretty good, because I mean, Diamond can't cover everything with the love with certain project deserve. I mean, like that Diamond book, it's like looking at a menu at a New Jersey diner. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's like this so long, and it's like there's so much great stuff in there. It's like you could look at it for hours. So something that I'm hoping that's going to happen is that there's going to be all these smaller distributors that come up that can kind of give certain products certain care. Like when I was younger, I used to work at a punk rock record store, and we didn't have one distributor. Like we had 5 distributors. Like we had one distributor that had all the punk stuff. We had one distributor that had all the hardcore stuff. We had one distributor that had the emo stuff, and then we had the mainstream stuff. And it was nice because, every Monday we would get a fax. Remember faxes? We would get a fax with all the list of all the new stuff that was coming out, and it was very fun to kind of go through them and find out things. And each individual company was able to highlight the books they were pushing specifically that week or that month. And I'm kind of hoping that what happens at the end of all this is we just have more choices.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's how it was back in the 90s, and before that, there was multiple distributors going out. And, we had Steve and Josh on the show from, the Jeppies, and, they run and own Diamond distributors. And they even said, competition's healthy and, it's probably going to happen, with other guys popping up, this and that. But, obviously, definitely some interesting things have panned out from this pandemic. So, it's kind of cool to see. I think this is a great time for indie creators. I think now is really the time to do this.
Like for the people that are watching this now or later, if you're a creator, like now is the time. I definitely felt bad in some aspects when Diamond kind of did that halt and stopped putting out books. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they leveled the playing field. They made it that much easier for someone to crowdfund an indie book online. It's like they kind of got rid of some of the competition, some of the noise. Although I have some love for Marvel and DC, I can't help but to say that they've been putting out garbage for the past couple years. Mm-hmm. So it's like I kind of think if you're a creator out there, like right now is the time to jump in and start making stuff because it's a level playing field.
Yeah, exactly. And just one thing though is, it's when you go indie and you do your own thing, it's a lot of work. Yeah. It's a lot of work. It's like 24/7, man.
Yeah, it's like I say just start small and then go from there, do a 6-page book and then after that do a 12-page book and just get used to the process of printing and seeing how it turns out and how you can better yourself.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's great advice. Again, Patrick, man, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Looks amazing, dude. Love the artwork. Love the whole premise of this. Another book that I'm going to be backing tonight. Don't tell my wife. I hope she's not watching.
Well, it's only $15, so you should be. Okay.
I like to do a little more than that. But dude, this looks great. So again, everyone out there, please share Johnny Phantasm 1977. You're getting issues 1 through 3. Awesome thing. Get to know the story if you don't know it, and get ready because 1985 is hopefully going to be launching in August, and then hopefully we'll hear some more stuff from you. But yeah, Patrick, please, again, as I said to Al, whenever you got something coming up, you want to promote something, just shoot us an email. We'll be happy to have you on. And again, even if we have someone, we get a lot of mainstream creators, a lot of big indie creators. If there's anyone that's always inspired, you're like, hell, you know what? I'm not doing anything Thursday night. Maybe I can go on and chat with them a little bit. Shoot us a message.
Sure.
All right, Patrick. Thanks again so much for coming on.
Awesome.
Good luck with everything. You've got 7 days left, and then you're going to head in demand.
Yeah, we're going to go in demand until I get the books from Peter. So we're just going to let it roll. And then as soon as I get the books, then we're going to end it. And then I'm going to start shipping those suckers out.
Awesome, man. All right. Good luck with everything. Look forward to getting my copies and have a great night.
Later, guys.
Bye, Patrick.
All right. Have a good one. Another great campaign.
Yes.
I just love that whole the music, everything, the Beetlejuice. I just love that. Anything dealing with like possession, spirits, just like good story. I mean, this thing looks great.
I was leaning forward and I'm like afraid like something's just gonna jump out and I'm gonna be like, wow. But
yeah, awesome, dude. I love this.
I will say, Patrick is someone that I reached out to be on the show. So, for all those that are watching, it's not always about people, contacting us to be on the show. We're looking at campaigns and, saying, hey,
we're always watching you.
Right. So, that's
we know everything.
Yeah.
It's true. That's what we're doing. We stalk the shit out of indie creators. Right. We just follow everything you're doing. And if it looks cool, we reach out to you, and we keep knocking and knocking and knocking until you answer the door. You know, we're outside your bathroom window just banging. Hey, come on the show. It's going to be a good time. And speaking of a good time, man, we've got our third creator tonight. Actually, someone who's been on the show before, back when we did our very first panel. So without further ado, everyone, let's please welcome Travis Miller. Travis, how you doing tonight?
Hey, guys. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good.
We're doing great, man. Glad to have you back on the show. Yeah. It's been a while. You know, you were on with our panel for the Avengers.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Feels like 90 years.
I know. It's incredible. So how are you doing with the whole pandemic, staying at home, lockdown, quarantine?
I was already working from home, and it doesn't really affect me except my hockey league got canceled. So, here I am with a bunch of spare time.
Oh, nice. Now, I know you and Billy go way back. If you want to give a brief story for those out there that don't know your special bond with him.
Yeah, so I think I met Billy in like 2000 or something. I was, or no, it was before that. It was like 1998 or something. Pittsburgh Comic-Con used to be one of the great big Comic-Cons. And I disappeared for a while, and I came home. I saw him again, and he's like, "Oh, what are you up to?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm in the Army. I'm an infantryman." And he's like, "Oh my God." And he started like taking me around to like literally everybody he knows. And I was just there to be on vacation. I had actually lost all the skin on the bottom of my right foot. Just an awesome story.
But so he's like,
yeah. So we were on a training march, road march. We got 75 pounds of crap, and you're just walking for 12, 15, 20, however many miles, and just my foot blistered so bad that the skin just peeled off. Ooh. So I finished the march though. That's the important part. But they had to send me home because I really couldn't do anything. My foot was all bandaged up. I looked like I had a big club foot. So I had, that Pittsburgh Comic-Con thing was going on. Billy took me around to everybody that he knows, and I ended up getting a couple of head sketches from John Romita Jr., which was awesome. I still have those.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You're in the Army, and did awesome Spider-Man and Daredevil. But anyways, so yeah, I've known Billy for like 20 plus years. Great guy, great friend. You guys know. So I see Billy all the time, or used to before the pandemic thing happened. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, Billy may pop in. He sent me a text. He's going to try to pop on in a few.
That'd be awesome.
He's trying to just wrap up stuff. He said, "Yes, I'll try to pop
Billy
on."
Time, so
But I had you two guys with me, so
there you go.
Just as good.
That's just as good, man. So tell us, for the viewers out there that aren't familiar with you, your work, how did you get into comics? How did you get to this point that you've now got this awesome campaign on Indiegogo?
So like I said, I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I had always been a big fan of comics. I drew as a kid and would write and stuff. And Scott McDaniel actually lived down the street from me. He was working on Daredevil at the time. So he kind of took me under his wing and taught me how to draw, and actually helped me develop a lot of my writing craft. And I would go to Comic-Cons all the time, and it was just what I really wanted to do. But I joined the Army out of high school because I needed to pay for college. Ended up getting lost. There were a couple of wars that I hadn't planned on. Kind of messed up my 5-year plan. So I ended up doing that for a while, for 15 years. And then I got out of the Army. I was medically retired. I had a bunch of nagging injuries and wounds that just wouldn't heal. I had to have a couple of spinal surgeries and a brain surgery, and a bunch of fun stuff. The Army said, "Thanks for coming out. Here you go. You're not retired." So I went into advertising as a production artist and then graphic designer, and I ended up writing and producing television commercials. And then the whole COVID-19 thing happened, and I decided, you know what? I have a bunch of free time. I'm going to finish up this story idea that I've had for a while, and reached out to my good friend Scott McDaniel, and we put it together. We had actually started working on the book years ago, and just kind of fell by the wayside as life happens and so on and so forth. So when the pandemic happened and I had a bunch of free time, I'm like, you know what? Let's go into Indiegogo and do an awesome graphic novel.
Oh, very cool. And here we have it, The Last Patrol. Now, this is basically, it says it's actually written on actual events from the Iraq War.
Correct, yeah. So it's based off of some of my experiences in the Iraq War. I wrote myself out of it intentionally so that I didn't make myself look to be the hero or the heel or whatever. And really, it's just the story of some of the guys that I was with on one particular patrol and what happens during that, you know.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, before we get into more detail, we'll play the video.
Please do. I own the music.
I'm still gonna get a copyright thing. I'm sure.
That's fine.
Tuesday night shows aren't for monetization anymore.
I'll send you the receipt.
There you go. That art is killer.
Right?
That art is killer, man. I love that.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Now, so if you can give us a bit about the story, what you've written, what's this about, what's the premise?
So the story is about 18 U.S. soldiers, and a typical combat patrol for us at the time in Iraq would be 20 infantrymen, 4 Humvees of 5 guys, but we had a couple of additional individuals that you would have to have with you. You had an interpreter, and in this we had an informant. So it was now down to 18 guys, and the story of Blue Platoon is they're following up on a tip that they had received from an informant about who might be in charge of a guerrilla insurgent cell in near the city of Bakuba in Iraq, which is about 20 miles north of Baghdad in the Diyala province. And while they're on this patrol following up this lead, they get ambushed. And they have to survive on their own for the better part of the night to make it out alive.
Oh, wow.
So is this a black and white or color? Because I see in the video there was color, but and then the campaign page it's black and white.
Right. So I just haven't. I've been busy with other stuff, so I haven't been able to update the campaign page. But it looks like we have made enough money to be able to pay for a colorist, which is awesome.
Oh, awesome!
That's great.
But
and you're doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, you have 13 days left. You have 247 backers. You had a goal of 500. I mean, you're on the cusp of hitting 10K.
We really hope
is this
we
your
do.
First campaign?
Yes. Yeah. So this is my
That's
first
great.
campaign.
Yeah.
That is, dude, that's awesome. I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of first campaigns, they're lucky to break. Oh, crap. It's happening again. That creepy dude's here.
We got rid of him.
Oh, he's no longer the quarantine sensation. Now he's just the teen sensation.
He
Oh,
downgraded.
okay.
It's because he's super cute.
Super cute. Hello.
He's super cute.
Oh, hello, good sir. Major wow factor.
Major wow factor. Damn you. Beat me to it.
Brought it back and bring
As
it
he
back.
leaves.
And he leaves, yeah.
Yeah, bring him
He
on.
saw a moth flew by. Did you get it? Did you get the moth? It leaves powder on your hands.
My studio, I'm cleaning up over there, so let's shift the camera.
You're always cleaning your studio.
Yeah, well, we had to clean the
Big fulfillment center.
You know what? Let's talk.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me. Enough about me.
Yeah, let's get back to the last patrol.
Travis Miller and the Last Patrol. What's up, brother? How are you?
How are you, brother?
I'm all right, man. I'm drawing a cover here, finishing it up, watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and listening to you fine fellas.
Oh, what a great movie.
Yeah, it's the best movie I've seen in a decade at least.
I agree. It is the best movie you've seen in a decade.
How many
Yeah,
times have
you
you
know,
seen
right?
that movie? How many times
Well,
have you
it-
seen that movie?
Probably 20 times.
I was gonna say, because you always be like, whenever we talk about movies, you're like, "Hey, did you see?"
And how many episodes do we have Billy talking about
Hang on, let me lower this.
it as well?
Probably about, let's say 30. Wait, hang on. I got that. Let me do the
I'd
calculator.
say about 75% of our episodes are Billy.
That means
talking
Great movie. It is a good movie.
Oh, it is. Don't get me wrong.
Well, you know what it is? It's if he's such a great screenwriter, you can just listen to the script. So when I draw, I don't. It's not like Mandalorian, right? I haven't finished watching Mandalorian yet because I got to watch it.
Yeah, that's
You know
very
what I mean?
visual.
Yeah, and even like I want to watch. There's another new show that's on about the English guys. The guy who played Scarecrow in The Dark Knight.
Oh, Peaky
Blinders.
Yeah, that I want to watch that, but that's something you got to watch. Like you watch a movie, you put on a movie that you've seen already.
Yeah.
You can listen. But enough about me. Come on, let's talk about Travis and Scott.
I was just saying, it's his first campaign, right? He's got 13 days left. What'd you start this at? 30 days?
40. I accidentally
40?
launched prematurely.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, well, the pre-launch page I accidentally put in 1969 as the launch date, and it just went straight to launch. I don't know how I did that.
That's crazy.
There were probably
But, hey,
substances involved.
but he's killing it. He's killing it. It's his first campaign, and he's about to break 10K.
Nice.
I can't take all the credit. Excuse me. Oh my God, that was all vodka.
Would you like us to send you away for a minute? Well, we'll let him get himself all cleaned up.
That's what happens when Billy.
What is he doing with that Hershey syrup?
So,
That's weird.
do you guys like movies?
I like movies with people in them, Billy.
You like movies with people?
Wow. Okay, I'm good now.
Pretty girls in my movies.
I've been partaking of a Pink Whitney. And the bottom of it was all vodka.
And a smack bottom, haven't you?
I wasn't expecting it. Yeah, but I can't take all the credit. Comics Matters, the YouTube channel, they gave us a bunch of shout outs our first week, and that just really lifted us up.
Awesome.
So
Well,
it's nice to have friends.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's the way to do it. Hit the circuit, especially right now. There's so many people going live and doing things. Whatever you can get on, jump on it, push it through, get it into demand. And what's great about Indiegogo is you have that in demand feature. So while you guys are still working on wrapping up your book, you can keep selling your book.
Word.
Yeah,
which I think is great.
That's one of the reasons why I went to Indiegogo instead of Kickstarter.
Yeah, and if you have to redraw 25 pages, you can do that while you do it. Like some of them.
No,
Frank,
you're a Met fan, huh?
Yep.
Sorry about that.
It's
We've
like
had
being an
such an
Islanders fan.
interesting theme tonight, huh? New Jersey and Pennsylvania. A lot of Pittsburgh talk and a lot of Jersey talk.
Travis is a huge Flyers fan.
What?
What?
Bite your tongue.
What is this?
Ow! Why'd you tell me to do that?
And I was like, sports?
Sports? What's that? Ew.
Sports.
Just a bunch of muscly boys throwing balls and getting me hot and sticky?
I don't even remember sports at this point. It's been so long.
You know what? I think that one of the cool things about this coronavirus is that it's proven, hopefully, to the media out there and the general population that we don't need sports heroes, do we? They don't matter because we haven't seen it and life hasn't. We don't need sports heroes, sports celebrity.
My hockey league got canceled. I need to play hockey.
Dude, me too. Hockey players are different.
I have a net and a shooting tarp in the backyard. So
have you scored a lot of touchdowns playing hockey?
Yes. Home run. Yeah.
Hit a couple homers in that hockey league?
I did. I actually have a baseball goal. So I actually scored a goal with like a baseball bat. So it was a total accident.
In the chat. This is weird.
Hey, Lee,
Sticky
what's
balls.
up? Jeff
Yeah.
Wilson is here. Sticky balls.
So, tell us
So-
about your sticky balls.
So I was super lucky to get Scott McDaniel to do the artwork. Batman, Nightwing, Daredevil, all kinds of great stuff. He's such a great artist that I wanted to do the art myself, but I just felt I couldn't draw it. I would, when I initially started, I couldn't do it. I'm kind of like back around 9/11 when John Romita Jr. was doing the special Spider-Man issue.
Yes.
I don't know how he subjected himself to that, but he did an amazing job, and I just couldn't live up to that kind of thing. So Scott was gracious enough to do it for me, and he's just been absolutely fantastic to work with.
Yeah. Now, how did you meet Scott? Through a convention circuit, or?
No, I actually lived down the street from him when I was a kid.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I was like 12 or 13. We moved in down the street from him, and he taught me how to draw. So my lack of ability, is not a reflection on me. It's a reflection on me being a bad student. But he actually taught me the basics of comic book art, and
Your campaign seems to be like straight to the point. Not long. You got what, 6 different levels. No, fluff or add-ons. Which I think is unique, but good.
I'm trying to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Now,
I've seen a lot of campaigns overpromise and underdeliver, and I would rather do the opposite of underpromise and underdeliver. No, I'm just kidding. I'd rather get out. I'd rather get out a good book that people want to enjoy. And not that I don't like the frills. It's just I don't want to overpromise on them.
Yeah. Now, your top tier for 500, it's the book plus original cover. Is it? So is that the actual hand-drawn cover that's going with it?
Yep. Yeah, the actual hand-drawn cover. As much as I would love to hold on to it, somebody's going to get it. Unless nobody claims that perk, and then, it's going to get framed. But if somebody claims it, then, they are going to get the original cover.
Now, where do you go from here with this? Now, what will be, Travis Miller's next book? Will it tie into this, or do you have anything planned for the future?
So I'm actually working on my next project, which is, I want to think about how much I want to talk about. So it's more of a comedy thing. It's still kind of military related, but I've always been fascinated with henchmen. That might sound weird, but you watch G.I. Joe cartoons, right? There's nothing that I can say that's weird. There's you watch movies or G.I. Joe or whatever, and there's droves of henchmen. Where do they come from? What's going on with them? This is a completely unexplored thing as far as I understand. So that's my next project is I'm working on.
Is it called Henchman? That's a brilliant idea. And then one of your levels.
And I'm on video with it saying that it's my idea.
Word, Frank.
Word. I just downloaded all this on my hard drive.
No, man, but you could have a perk that you get like, say, 5 people or so, and they could be one of the henchmen in the book.
Right. Yeah. So that's a great idea, and I just stole it.
Or you can have a tier where you get 5 of your own henchmen, and it'll bring jobs back.
Maybe that's a broken
5
windows kind of thing.
Show up to your house. Who are you? You were your henchman. Okay.
I think that would be the Tucci tier.
But seriously, how great would that be to have your own henchman?
Right?
They're in a costume, just vacuuming, doing dishes.
Yeah, but what are they doing when they're not being henchmen?
Well, you're going to find out in Henchmen coming in the end of 2020 or 2021.
Henchmen coming in 2021.
I like that. You know what? I need you to voice the trailer for it. In a land where there's nothing left but henches. I don't know. So that's...
What about hench? And then the sequel would be hench women, and it's like sexy women hench.
I kind of see it as an ongoing thing.
I feel like it should be called Hench People, Billy.
The hench. I have a hench that it's a great idea.
You're right.
Yeah.
That is a really cool idea. I mean, we don't want you to give too much of it away. But really, when are you hoping to maybe have this book out? At least you'll crowdfund it, I assume.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to crowdfund it. Maybe we'll start it in August. Let's see how it goes with me drawing the pages, and I already have the first 20 pages plotted out.
Yep.
I actually do that pretty quick. I kind of just talk to myself and record it, as opposed to when I just regularly talk to myself.
Yeah. Now, who do you plan on using for coloring? I know you'd mentioned you now have the funds to get the book colored.
Yeah, so Color Channel is going to be doing the coloring for The Last Patrol. And for the rest of the art for Henchmen, I'm going to have to try to figure that out because coloring's expensive.
Yeah. I
I'm
know a
cheap.
great colorist that I could help you out with that is very affordable.
There you
And
go.
it's through Dynamite, and they're coloring. He's coloring Miss Fury. And
Oh, nice.
It's unbelievable.
Nice. Yeah. Color Channel is actually somebody that's established in the industry but can't reveal their name because of some of the other work that they've done.
Keep using them.
Dun dun.
So-
I didn't even take my Color Channel's work. I didn't know what that
So they
meant.
probably worked on other Indiegogo projects, maybe.
Perhaps.
So stupid.
Well, I
you hear me,
apologize,
people?
Color
It's
Channel.
stupid.
I
Jeez.
apologize, Color Channel, for that. Please, I was not trying to take work away from Color Channel. I thought you were just talking about a color channel.
Right.
So distract everything I said.
You want your book colored? Change it to channel 13.
I'd use Color Channel.
Color channel.
It's another YouTube series.
But
Oh, that's a
I'm
great
confused
idea.
now.
We're gonna
so-
have another show called Color Channel.
Have we talked about your book, Travis? I'm sorry I came in late.
A little bit. And then you showed up.
And I showed up.
And
All right,
then
I'm
think
sorry.
about
It all went to shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, can we talk about the
So-
last book? Because it is a very
one's
important
watching.
subject.
No, as we
Yes.
went through, yeah. So if you'd like, we were actually when you popped on, we were talking the premise of the book, what was going on, and you had mentioned, Travis, that you wrote yourself out of this story. But so, am I safe to assume that these are actual events you experienced?
Yes. So you won't know who I am in the book. I've changed names and so on and so forth. I just didn't want to have people think that I was the hero of the story or the heel, or because it's not about me. It's about us. It's about the guys that I was with. And I actually had First Sergeant Matt Eversman from Black Hawk Down, and he did not like Mark Bowman's book or how they portrayed him in the movie. I actually had a couple of superior officers / NCOs that were in Mogadishu, and none of them like to talk about it. And none of them like the movie or the book or anything. So I fictionalized a lot of the story, or not a lot of the story. I fictionalized some of the stories so that it amps up the drama. Not that you really need to amp up the drama, but to change the stakes a little bit from these guys have to survive to these guys have to survive while this is going on and that's going on. A bunch of, and also to speed up the timeline and to change some people's names. But, for the most part, I'd like to think it's very accurate.
Yeah.
And really I wanted to do the guys justice because I'm still friends with everybody that was there. And there's a specific bond that you get from being in literally a life or death situation that just doesn't ever go away. Like those guys could call me today and I'd, drive to Montana or whatever to take care of them.
Yeah. Now, when you're putting a story like this together, that's very personal, it's very connected, that has connected you with your fellow soldiers that you were in the company that you're working working alongside during these times. I mean, did you consult them about this story?
I consulted
or what you were going to do, I would say.
I consulted some of them, and I consulted specific people because I've had a lot of head injuries, so my memory is not exactly as good as it used to be. So some people fill it in blanks, or oh no, this didn't happen this way; it happened that way. I probably could have reached out to more of them if I had their phone numbers or whatever, but I did my absolute best to portray everybody as, you know, heroic as they actually are, because it's hard to explain combat. I think actual combat. I think Saving Private Ryan does it the best, where you know you have this rapid action, and then just like everything is just absolutely silent. You're looking around like this is the most surreal thing I've ever experienced in my life. Rapid action, right? So not everybody's gonna remember everything a certain way, but if this were to get picked up by Netflix, I would, you know, be splitting that check with a lot of guys. You know, because this isn't my story; this is their story.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. That's incredible. And again, how many pages is this book?
So it's 36 pages. Scott has finished penciling the first 20, and Derek has finished inking the first 10. The first 20 are lettered. It's hand lettered by Rick Parker, who, he did. You know, he lettered so many things from the 70s on up for Marvel, and he drew the Beavis and Butthead comics. And he's fantastic, you know, to work with. There's something about hand lettering that just isn't held up by digital lettering. Not that there's anything wrong with digital lettering, but there's just an artistry with the hand lettering.
Well, there's definitely it's a skill to do.
Yeah.
We talked about that once, Billy.
What?
I said we talked about that before, the whole lettering thing, and it's freaking crazy. That's awesome. Is that something you plan to do for all your books, or was it just something that you wanted with this book?
It's something I really wanted with this book, and I'm really hoping that we make enough so that I can start on the next, not the Henchman book, but the next war comic, next war graphic novel. It's something that I would really like to keep going. And if there's any vets out there, especially infantrymen, that have a great story to tell, please email me, travismillerart@me.com, mikeecho.com. And I'd be more than happy to sit there and discuss it with you, and maybe have a cathartic way for you to tell us something that you want to tell anybody else, you know?
Oh, very cool. That's good. We'll add that. If you want, email us the info, or even message it, Travis, and we'll add it into the description of the show. So anyone that's watching, if they want that info, we'll have it put into the description, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to make a new email address for it now that I think about it.
Well, whatever you want to do, let us know, and we'll put something in there.
Yeah.
Very cool, man.
Be fantastic.
Travis, did you feel like this in some way was able to kind of close a door for you in regards to your experiences? Or did it reopen and then re-shut? Sorry if I'm getting too personal.
Oh, no, it's fine. I would love to say that, you know, there was closure and, you know, everything's okay now, but that's not the truth. It opened, and I'm rewriting some of the pages, so it continues to open some stuff up. But I think that it's very necessary. It's cathartic in a way.
Yeah.
And it's also very painful, but the strange thing is I really miss that time in my life. You know, I was, you know, what is 2005? So I was, you know, 25, 26, you know, not a care in the world except making it home alive. And it's going to sound really weird. You never feel as alive during the rest of your life as you do during a firefight or during a hockey game. Specifically the firefight of the hockey game is to soften that weird blow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's a terrible time in my life, but it's also a great time in my life. So I have a lot of mixed feelings about it, and I hope that comes through in the writing.
Yeah, I bet you it will, man. I bet you it will. Another great book that I'm going to be backing tonight. And I look forward to it.
I did already, but I'll check it and I'll do it again.
You did. I appreciate it.
Sure, I did. Yeah, because I'm like, wait a minute, it's live.
Yeah, it was.
This was May 1st.
It was a mistake, just like blaming Oswald for Kennedy's assassination. It was a total mistake.
Oh, what did you do?
We'll have Travis back on our November 22nd show.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We'll sit there and watch the
bring
video
my
game.
friend Tim
Billy.
Garrison with me.
We'll watch the video game where you get to recreate the assassination.
Did you ever play JFK Reloaded?
It's impossible.
It's not impossible. I did it.
It's impossible in real life. In a video game,
Not impossible. I was there. I saw it.
I was there, man.
No, you were adjacent to there. You were not in the sniper's nest.
I was in the sniper's nest.
You can't. It's plexiglass.
It's not plexiglass.
It is.
It's walled off, but it's not plexiglass. You can actually.
It's walled off.
If you know the right people, you can get into the window.
Ooh,
it's impossible. Impossible.
Oh,
all right.
It's that Tucci fame.
I've got a picture. Scattered pictures. Show us the picture. I gotta find it.
Then you're a
Why
liar.
are you doing the bad voice?
That'll be a while.
Travis, what is your what's your are you on Twitter?
I think so. Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
It's at Gaggle Travi. I don't really do social media that much.
You're gonna start,
tiring.
as you become a more famous comic creator, you got to start getting on that Twitter wagon.
Bro, what is it? Gaggle?
Tweet mofos.
Yeah, Gaggle, as in a group of Travis.
Gaggle. Gaggle what?
Travi.
What? V?
So,
Billy, go
Travis
to your
Travis.
Twitter.
Go to your
Twitter.
page,
You're all in a tweet for tonight's show.
All right, yeah, but I'm working this fucking PC and it's not my Mac, so it takes.
Wait, we can swear on here?
Times.
Yeah, you can swear.
Yeah,
you can drink, you can swear, you can cough on up your vodka.
Gaggle what?
The drinking I wasn't going to ask permission for. I was just going to ask for forgiveness.
What's it called? Gaggle what?
Travi, Travi.
IT with my dad.
Travi, Travi, baby.
Did you restart it? Is it plugged in?
Right. Tonight I was enjoying a Pink Whitney, which is New Amsterdam vodka with pink lemonade.
Oh, nice. I've been enjoying it.
New Amsterdam. Someone brought New Amsterdam over to bought it when they came over, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed it with my quarantinis, with my emergency and that. Yeah, see that and a touch of a club soda, for the bubble. To get the bubble.
I had
right.
a white Russian tonight.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
A white Russian.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Now if I can only get her off my couch, huh?
But I have 3 bottles of the Pink Whitney in the pantry, which you can buy. I'm not going to do a product placement for them. There's my wife.
Oh,
hi.
Bring it to you.
I can't do a product placement.
Product placement.
So Pink Whitney. We're gonna have
Today's POPXP has been brought to you by Pink Whitney.
Pink Whitney.
Pink
New
Whitney.
Amsterdam vodka.
Where all your pink dreams come true.
Yeah, it's actually really good. You know what? It's not a big deal.
And in the description below, we'll have the recipe.
Yeah, half vodka, half pink grapefruit or pink lemonade. Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying pink grapefruit juice. It's lemonade.
I don't know.
Pink crazy juice. I'm gonna mute myself. Oh, Debbie, because I told her to come up here and say hi to you, and she
Why
wanted.
do they call it a Pink Whitney?
It's named after Ryan Whitney, who is a forward in the NHL.
Oh, okay.
And it's his signature drink. He played for the Pittsburgh Penguins when they won the Stanley Cup in 2009. Yeah,
I wasn't sure if Whitney was a woman. It was named after a
could
woman.
go either way. I mean, it's 2020. Who are we to judge?
Like Whitney Houston, best singer there ever was.
Be full of original recipe Coca-Cola when they still had cocaine in it. Yeah, but The Last Patrol is doing great, and we'd love for it to do even better. So anybody out there, Steph Wilson, hi Travis's wife. Yep, she popped in to refill my glass.
What a lovely lady.
Yeah.
Now, are you still cosplaying?
Spider-Man? You're a kid. I don't.
So that was one time for a friend.
Oh, you Tony Stark in it anymore?
No, I grew the hair out.
By choice or because they're just not open? I grew my hair out too.
Yeah, it's part quarantine, part hockey, part I just stopped caring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since I work from home, I really don't care.
Around.
You know what? When this is done and over with, and I'm tired of it, I'm either going to send it to you and Dan or Dan Fraga.
Give it. I just want to just get.
By the way, I love you, Dan. I'm just making a joke. It's just a joke.
Yeah.
This is only since January, so. But no.
So
okay.
You're pre-quarantine.
Right.
But anyway,
so the Spider-Man thing is, I had a friend that needed a costume contest judged, and I was going to judge it, but then he decided I needed to be in a suit. I needed to be dressed up too. Happen to have a Spider-Man suit. Okay, fine. You know what? And that's the sacrifice I learned in the Army. Sacrifice for your friends.
Well, was there something wrong with the suit?
No, it was just the Spider-Man.
He just showed up at the booth and we were like, hey. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, Spider-Man. He's like, it's Travis.
And I've always had fantastic thighs, so
like I didn't know if there was like something to it, like he didn't wear a cup with his Spider-Man suit or something.
No, I had a cup. Yep, it's got to make sure all the Ghibli bits stay in place. You don't want them to move around in spandex. Crouching next to a kid.
I learned that from Karen Nicole. It's like, oh, well, if you're gonna cosplay as a guy, you need to wear a cup, and I'm like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah,
so you got to wear pants and a cup. Cosplaying's not for me.
No, I'm not a big. I mean, cosplayers out there, God bless you, via con Dios. I, give you guys all the credit in the world. I am not the dress up kind of guy, but sometimes, I've done it for friends. I had a friend that went to Dragon Con doing a gender bent version of Wonder Woman, and I was like, you know what? I'll wear this Nightwing costume to make you feel better. So you don't feel as weird. You got somebody there supporting you.
Why did he want to wear that? And he didn't want to feel weird? That's just kind of weird to do that. Anyway. Hey, it's art, right? So, all right.
It's art. It's performance art.
It's art. Enjoy it,
art.
It's art.
No, but anyway, Travis's story. I've had the honor and the privilege of listening of hearing some of Travis's combat experience, and it's really I had to bring tears to your eyes, and how he talks of his friends, and I know a lot of the stories, and I'm sure that you'll be telling him. I hope you will, because those stories have to be told about those men, and it's really moving, and anybody wants a real heartfelt story, true life story put on by a couple of pros with a lot of passion, please check out The Last Patrol. And if you can't afford it to buy it, at least share it on social media, please, because it's an extraordinary story of what these men went through and what they accomplished. And my hat's off to them. It's
thank you.
Unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable.
Yeah, thank you. I drew a lot of inspiration doing this from your Sergeant Rock book, which I have 2 pages from.
No, do you?
I do. And that was a huge inspiration to me. And I'm like, you know what? I need to tell this story. And one of the awesome things about The Last Patrol is that it's not like 13 Hours or Lone Survivor or Black Hawk Down. We're not Rangers. We're not Special Forces cats. We're not super cool superheroes. These are guys. These are just regular guys that, some were trying to pay for college, some just liked having the job, and found themselves, regular guys finding themselves in an extraordinary situation and trying to survive it. And I don't think that's a story that gets told enough with accuracy and with a sense of humanity.
Yeah.
All the war movies I see, it's the same thing. You got a guy that has PTSD and he's losing his mind all the time, and then you have the new kid, the boot, who doesn't know anything, and they're having this interaction. And really, we're just guys, we're just people, One dude in the book, it's actually from real life. He wanted to be a carpenter, and he just did this so that he could pay for school to go to carpentry school, to be a cabinet maker or whatever he wanted to be. I don't remember. But there were some really great guys. Like one guy in here, his name's Lieutenant Harris, an actual person. He was an All-American running back in high school. He was an all, I don't know what the collegiate level is, all something male cheerleader. He gave up doing football to become a male cheerleader. He interned for George W. Bush, and he ended up as our platoon leader. And he was just an absolutely extraordinary guy. When we weren't out on patrols or had anything else to do, he would actually give classes to the younger guys on how to write resumes and how to present yourself to get a job on the outside, because he knew not everybody was going to stay in the Army. And he actually came up with the saying, "Beanie Babies in one pocket and bullets in the other." And it was up to them what they were going to get. Were they going to get the Beanie Babies or were they going to get the bullets?
Wow.
And you had to have both. At that time in that place, you had to have both, and he knew that. We look at him, he was 23 years old, and we look at him now, maybe, we kind of laugh a little bit, but at the time, that was a groundbreaking idea. It was before General Petraeus's counterinsurgency ideas. We're just trying to figure stuff out at this point. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, man, I really look forward to reading this and you sharing this story, this very personal, intimate story of an experience you went through.
I'm glad to do it. Really, this it's going to sound weird. It's the happiest I've been since I was in the Army. So doing this book has really meant a lot to me, and everybody backing it, I really appreciate.
Yeah, man. Well, awesome. Well, Travis, man, thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing your
thank you,
story,
guys.
enjoying some laughs with us and getting a little silly. But yeah, like Billy said, guys, and with any of these campaigns we have on the show, please share them, back them if it's your thing, but help spread the word. This is a true story. It's an inspirational story, something I think a lot of people will really enjoy. Obviously times are tough right now. So if you can't back it, the next best thing you can do is help share it. You may have 1, 20, 100 people that may back this. So, help spread the word. There's 13 days left on this campaign, and it will go in demand for a while. So hopefully we can, continue this momentum that you have on this project and, help jumpstart the next book.
It'd be fantastic. I thank you guys very much for having me on.
Yeah, anytime, my friend. Anytime you want to come on, anything you got, just shoot us an email, a message, call Billy, let us know.
Oh, he answers phone calls now?
I don't know. I just have to say
I don't
that.
answer text messages.
If he knows how.
I can answer
Text
phone
messages.
call.
Call Debbie.
This is 2020. You got to answer text messages.
Oh God.
From me, anyways. Not
You
not
text
Frank or
message
Nile,
me?
but
Hang on. You texted me? Let's see here.
no, I know.
I love-
better. You're
Yeah,
not
you
going to
do.
answer.
Get your bifocals on.
I only have reader bifocals. I should.
I really do feel bad because you're not going to. Usually we would actually be hanging out next weekend, but because of the coronavirus thing.
What's next weekend?
Next weekend would be Phoenix Comic Con.
Oh, geez. Yeah, we weren't going to Phoenix this year, so we didn't miss that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we weren't. So we didn't miss that one.
You're like, we would have been hanging out. He's like, yeah, no, not doing it.
Nah.
I gotta tell you, I'm a little relieved, because I've done so many shows for the past couple of years, and I'm actually getting so much more work done by not doing the shows. I mean, I miss my friends. I miss, the whole camaraderie and meeting the fans and everything like that. But it really takes so much out of your time. I mean, like the Phoenix Comic
really
Con,
does.
we would get home. It's the show is, we would get home Monday night. So we're flying all day Memorial Day, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, or like Thursday, you shot from the show because it just takes out of your conventions. It really does. And this way I got a whole week to work and, it's feeling good, feeling groovy.
Yeah. Last year,
over.
We did the show, and then the next day, not Memorial Day, but that Tuesday, I had a 3-day commercial shoot, and I was just drained. I had 0 time to recover.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, and shows take a lot out of you, don't they, Frank?
They do. But celebrity
woes.
Oh, yeah.
hopefully we get to do shows again.
They'll happen. They'll happen. I think 2020 shot, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe we'll see some stuff.
Denver's having theirs in November. And we're going to that.
Well, everyone's going to end up having theirs in November.
Yeah, I think Phoenix Comic-Con's going to do theirs in September now.
What's that?
I think I saw an email from Phoenix Comic-Con where they're going to do theirs in September, which will be nice because you can actually go outside and not burst into flames.
Oh, right.
And I can make those jokes because I live in Phoenix.
Yeah. I think the South Carolina Con is now the weekend before San Diego, and because San Diego's canceled, I was supposed to do that show. That's a great show. So I think I'll be doing that one.
Oh, nice. South Carolina's beautiful.
Yeah, Greenville's gorgeous, and they're great. Yeah. They're great people. They're the kind of people that the green room has. The comic creators are in the same green room as celebrities. Nice. You could actually sit and have lunch next to zombie number 3 on the left from episode 15 of The Walking Dead.
That guy, I know that guy.
Yeah, his name's Howard. Great guy.
He's an inspiration, Howard.
Howard is a good guy.
He is a good guy.
All right,
he's a method actor.
Yeah. He just gets the makeup where he can't actually open his mouth.
Yeah,
so he has to keep his mouth shut. He's just for the background. He's a background zombie.
Right.
But he gets
kind of dream job.
Better food though than John Romita. So
right.
Yeah. He got
Nile's trying to transition us out. So
yeah, I am transitioning everyone out as we're approaching a 2-hour mark. So again, Travis, thank you so much for coming on. Billy, thank you for being able to pop on for a bit tonight. We know you're trying to get that cover done.
Cut my finger.
Oh, you cut your finger. Yeah.
Oh.
That's what happened.
Another
good thing you're left-handed.
Oh, frick it. What the heck did you what? How does
shucking clams?
Shucking clams.
The life
of a celebrity.
Hold on, what's that code for? What is that code for?
Shucking clams. Take a clam and you got to cut it open,
No, it's code.
No.
It's not code. I was shucking clams.
It's code.
It's
That's
code.
They're little necks, little small ones, but they were. I think they might have been dead. That's why it's so hard to open.
You were shucking little necks.
He was
pervert.
shucking little necks.
What was his name? Get him off the show. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore, Billy. You and your
shucking little necks.
I was shucking little necks.
I wonder why Blevins isn't on. What did you do to him?
What did you do?
What did you do to
Wow.
Blevins?
Have we heard from the Blevins? Is he alive?
Yeah. He's I think so. Let me just check. Don't choke on your vodka. Excellent.
What?
All right,
I'm not drinking on a live television
great show tonight. Thank you, Travis, for coming on. Another big shout out to
Thank you, guys.
Alton Simpson and Patrick Thomas Parnell for coming on the show and talking about their campaigns. And everyone, join us tomorrow night. We have Jimmy Palmiotti coming on with a special mystery guest that he is bringing to talk some more Hollywood horror stories. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, wait, the camera's up here. Dun. So used to going to the mic. You ready for that one, Billy?
If I finish this cover.
All right. Travis, thanks so much again for coming on. We'll continue to share your book through our channels.
Good to see you, brother.
And everyone, have a great night. We will see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. with our second episode of Hollywood Horror Stories with Jimmy Palmiotti and his mystery guest. Good night, everyone.